Hello, hello. Welcome to Sleuth Slut. I'm Brenda. I read crime fiction widely and give you my feminist perspective on what I've read. Recently, I finished two books, one that was quite heavy and serious, and the other one was just ridiculous fun. And given the current shit show in the world, I decided to start with a bit of fun. So this book is called Masquerade for Murder. It was written in 2020, and it's a Mickey Spillane book, but it was actually written by Max Allan Collins, who was a friend of Spillane's, and after his death, Spillane's wish was that Collins continue to write his Mike Hammer series using outlines that he had and unfinished manuscripts. So this is one of those books. It's like number, I don't know, 26 or something in the Mike Hammer series. And it's the first one that I had read, so I don't have any background on this series. But basically, Mike Hammer is a hard-boiled detective in the tradition of Chandler, etc. What led me to pick this one up was I listened to a preview of the audiobook, and the narrator's voice is great for this type of book. It's a first-person narrative, and he has this like gravelly voice that is perfect for a hard-boiled detective. And this takes place in the 80s, and Mike Hammer is in his 50s by then, so it just worked for me. This was pretty much what I expected in terms of tone for that kind of hard-boiled detective story. The only thing is that the racism and sexism is way dialed down because it was written, very recently. So it's nice, it's refreshing. You still get that biting tone, those zingers, without the relentless ick of it all. That said, Mike Hammer refers to his secretary slash girlfriend as doll, like he addresses her as doll. And there's no woman in the book that isn't first described by her figure, how she looks. And every time he mentions his partner slash secretary slash girlfriend, Velma, it's like he has to tell you how sexy she is, how good looking she is. It gets a little tiresome, but that said, it fits within the genre. In terms of violence, this unexpectedly is a bit of a bloodbath. That said, it's kind of like cartoon violence, like it doesn't feel real. So, yeah. The plot for me is where it kind of went off the rails. I mean, it did feel familiar to me because I've read Chandler and Hammett and those types of books, but it was more of a why and how done it rather than a who done it. And I wasn't completely satisfied by that plot, but I mean, it was just a fun read. I needed that kind of distraction. I loved listening to it. So for me, it's a 3 stars, and I'm now curious about the earlier Mickey Spillane novels. So I've ordered the first one, number 1 in ebook. So it'll be interesting to see the difference between something that was written in the 70s, I think, compared to something that was written now. Let me know if you've read any of the Mike Hammer books and what you've thought, and whether or not the books changed once Collins started taking over. I'm really curious about that. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you possibly next week for more Sleuth Slut. Merci, au revoir.